Hi everybody, welcome to the White Filth channel. We are very honored today to have Dani from the mighty Goats of War Rex in the building. Dani, thank you very much for coming on and doing this talk with me.
Yeah, the honor is mine.
Perfect, man. Thank you. Yeah, we should preface this by saying that we've been talking for, like with Charlie, for example, we've been talking for some time throughout the years. I think maybe, I don't know when we first came in contact. I think just through ordering records around the time you were doing the early US raw material from Perverse Homage on records, and maybe the Bosnian scene when that came up. My scope went to the label. I had not noticed it before that. But on the other hand, it was at the same time that I was getting into the raw side of black metal, so it kind of elevated at the same time. The label started in 2002, right?
Yes, around that time.
Around that time.
I think the end of 2002 or the beginning of 2003, yes.
Oh, okay. But it's kind of confusing because you started it in Australia, and then
Yes, yes.
Somewhere on internet, I think on Discogs, it said that it was in the hands of some other guy for some period. Is that true, or?
Well, yes, that is true. I think that was around, I think somewhere between 2008 until 2010, roughly. And because I was moving back from Sydney to China to pursue my professional career. So at that time, I cannot really handle my label activity. Yeah, so David is a guy that I have knew for sometimes. So but he's a more like a brutal death metal, slamming death metal guy.
Okay.
And he was simply only taking my old talks that I cannot bring that I cannot bring back with me to China. So he simply took the label name, took the website, took my dead stock, and basically sell those dead stock to make small profit. Then I think during that period he released 3 albums.
Okay.
But I think most of those albums were somehow under my direction, because he didn't have any idea how to pick a black metal band.
Okay, so it never translated, his taste of brutal death metal never translated into the label. It's always been black metal or black metal.
Yes, never. Sadly, I think he dropped off even from the death metal scene after a while. I haven't talked with him for a couple of years. I think last time I saw him was before the COVID pandemic. I think he's still live in Sydney, Australia somewhere, but I haven't been in contact with him for a couple of years.
Okay. Are you still in some sort of lockdown, or are you out like we are?
Oh, we are in a semi-lockdown. I mean, I can go out, but I need to get a regular test, and to mandatorily wear the mask, and I cannot really travel out of the city.
Okay.
I think even since today, I cannot even travel out of my district. But other than that, it is a pretty much all free. But I don't know, because I think maybe you have read the news that our government, they basically refuse to acknowledge that we have to be a coexist with the COVID virus.
Yeah.
And they still pursue their some, I think it's a so-called the dynamic zero policy. So they want to eliminate the virus by doing the mass testing and lockdown, stuff like that. But I do not have a faith in that. I think it's a matter of time they have to drop that out, and to be to live in a coexist with the virus.
So it's basically just
so it is yes, it is basically just a matter of time. But that makes us makes the life of us very unpredictable, because you don't know what was the measure will change tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow there is a full lockdown, or maybe they will lift up the lockdown tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who knows? It is very unpredictable.
Yeah, it's not. It's just another way to keep the pressure on the people, I guess.
Yes.
from the government.
Yes.
Okay, we did the COVID part. Let's talk music, I guess.
Yeah.
This my first question is already answered, but this is not your day job, right? You the label is something you do
It is,
apart from the label, or did it become your?
yes. Yes. This is a still. I think many people ask me this
Yeah,
questions.
I had a lot of
This question
questions.
already because yes, I've been doing a lot of release since a couple of years ago, but this is not my day job. I
No.
work in an investment bank as a compliance officer.
Oh, okay.
So it is like the financial sector.
Yeah, it's a bit more steadily than record boss owner, I guess.
Yeah.
Just to make a living.
Yes. I wish one day I can make enough. I mean,
Yeah.
profit just by doing the record label, but that day is not. I mean, not going to happen in a foreseeable future.
I don't think a lot of people are living off. I mean, on this level of music, are living on doing label stuff or doing.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe if you are iron bonehead, maybe you
Yeah.
can live from the label.
But that's
I
because
don't
you
know.
have a huge
Just
distro.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. That will be profitable enough to make a day job. Yeah. Okay, so before the entire move back to China, it was mostly a CD label, right?
Yes.
The first, I would say,
Yes.
first 100 releases, maybe half of the releases were all CD.
Oh no, I think I did something like 40 plus CD releases,
Oh, okay. I thought it
and
was.
I also did, yeah, not enough, not reach 100.
Okay.
I think 40 plus, and then about 13 of 14 vinyl titles,
Oh, okay.
and a couple of cassettes. Yeah,
Okay.
because back then in Australia, there were no. I mean, Australia is a rather isolated continent.
Mm-hmm.
So as a postage and everything is very expensive back then. And people, I think there was only one vinyl factory, which is a GZCD,
Oh yeah. Okay.
GZ Media from a Czech. And that's the only place that you can order vinyl. And the postage, everything is very expensive.
Yeah.
So I only did something like 13 vinyl titles.
Okay.
And the sales of vinyl were not as good as these days.
No, probably not. I noticed because I was looking into what Belgian releases you did, like the Crème Drac and then the Paragon Impure, and I was always under the impression that the Paragon Impure, the two guys, that it was the vinyl release you did, but you did a CD release, so that's why I thought there were more CDs in the catalog.
Yes, I think I tried to do the vinyl version, but it's already spoken by Paniac Record. Or another Belgian label. I cannot remember.
Sure if it's Paniac.
Yeah, but at that time, that release was already spoken.
Okay. How did you get in contact with those guys from Paragon?
I cannot really remember.
No.
Maybe no, I cannot really remember. I think by the time I made contact with them, they have already released 1 7-inch.
Yeah.
And maybe a cassette. I cannot really remember, but
yeah,
at one period, I did several Belgian bands, Paragon Impure, and Green Fork. Is that how to pronounce it? Another Belgian band.
Yeah.
Start with a green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. But at that time, I did several Belgian bands.
Okay.
Paragon Impure was one of the bands that sold the best.
Yeah, I think it was the biggest name at that time on that label, because there were different, like Lugubrum was also in action and stuff like that, but that was one of the bigger names at the time. Yeah. Yeah, I was always interested in the Belgian and also the Dutch connection, like the Urfaust material you released and the Planet 8s and stuff like that. So I always wondered how that connection came to be, but it's probably just, getting in contact and just releasing it. There's no bigger story or anything behind it.
Yes, there was no bigger story than you can expect. I think for the Urfaust, I just saw one of the band member made a post on a Full Moon production forum, I think saying something that they have a cassette coming out, and everyone please check out this music. And then I download the MP3 and thought this is a really unique stuff, very promising, especially the clear vocal part. So I sent him a private message, says if you want to release this stuff on a CD, then the rest is history.
Yeah, of course. That's how easy it goes. We always make these stories bigger in our head, but it's most of the time it's just like that.
Yes.
All right. So you went from CD to vinyl. There was talks of you owning your own or getting your own pressing plant. Is that still an option or an idea?
Yes, it is. It is still an. I mean, it is still. It is not my pressing plant. I simply invested a small share.
Yeah.
So yes, there are a few partners. I mean, they were in this sense before, and I used to make the order from them. So one day they asked me they want to get some new pressing machine, and if I'm interested in getting involved.
Okay.
I said why not? Because I have been doing a lot of stuff. I think if I made an investment, probably I can get a priority treatment, because these days the turnaround time for vinyl is excruciatingly long.
Yeah, it's insane.
Sometimes you need to wait. Yeah, sometimes you need to wait more than 1 year. I thought if I become a shareholder, maybe I could get a priority treatment. And it is happening now, because I think the last couple of vinyls I did, it took me something like 6 months. It's already much faster than if I order from somewhere else.
Costs the time and two, of course. Is it based in China or is it based?
It is in China.
Okay.
This is in China. Yeah.
So
I think the raw material is the raw material of making vinyl. That particle, vinyl particle, are imported from foreign countries. I think from Germany or somewhere in Thailand.
Okay.
But all the pressing facilities in China. It's in Canton province. Maybe you have known that. Maybe you know that place.
No, I don't think
it's in the southeast of China.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the start, because that was the first part of all the questions. Let's talk about you a little bit. How I kind of know, because you talked to Charlie and I've seen that interview a few times, so I kind of know. But for the people who are, here for the first time or see you for the first time, how did you get into music in general? Because I can imagine that it's not easy to get into this stuff in China, just because of censorship, and the fact that it's just censorship.
Yes.
And the fact that it's worlds apart. It's a hard word to pronounce. I don't use it often, so.
Right. Well, again, there was no magical story. I was just a very introspective kid. Yeah. And looking for something that is not so common back then in China. So I start buying Western music like Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls, stuff like that. Then I was slowly developing my taste and looking to something more extreme, more outstanding, uncommon. And I developed punk. I think the first black metal band. I consciously know that I have been listening to metal is a Black Sabbath. Yeah. Early Black Sabbath. I think the self-titled album, and then Paranoid, and then gradually I started to listening to Slayer, and then something more extreme. Back then we have to. We don't have even a bootleg album. We have to buy the cut-off tapes. Yeah. Cut-off tapes is yes, it is a recycled plastic garbage that the developed Western economy they dumped to China, because that is yes, you don't need that. But we do. Some of the cassette and some of the CD are still playable. You have to use the double set sticker to they cut off the tape, so they cut off the magnetic tape, and you have to use the double set sticker to glue them together to make it playable.
I was wondering
You
why.
can imagine that.
I was wondering why they would do that. It's just it seems a step extra
Well,
to cut it
I
and put
think
it back.
well, I think that is a typical capitalism problem, because they just made manufactured too many of the cassettes,
Yeah,
but they cannot just dump them locally. They have to dump it somewhere else, and they cannot dump it intact. They have to make it unresellable.
it's
So
weird.
that's why they did that. Yes, they just cut off. They just cut the magnetic tape, make it cannot play, and dump it to China or maybe some other third world country like Vietnam, maybe some other Asia country, or maybe even Africa countries.
Yeah,
And we collect that rubbish tape from the a big pile of dumped rubbish,
hmm,
and to use the double side sticker to glue that magnetic tape
to
to make it
reconnect. Yeah.
playable again. Yes.
Do you have an
So
example?
we used to have a. I don't have it right now.
Okay, I should have
Maybe I
asked.
should, but no. Yeah. Maybe I can send you a picture later, so you
Yeah,
know how it looks like. Maybe yes. Yeah. I can send you you know as a matter of fact, that kind of cut off tape has became a collectible
of
item
course.
in China,
Of course.
because that marks a very a lot of people collect that even now,
Yeah,
because
it's the beginning of
it
metal.
is, yes, it is a collectible. It's it's something like a very nostalgic item.
Of course. Yeah.
So yeah, from that I think I bought a lot of titles from a black mark, Bursary, and other black mark items, Lake of Tears, I think one of the band called. And yeah, that's how I developed my taste in extreme music. And then around 2000, I was sent to Australia as an exchange student.
Hmm.
And from there, I gained more access to a wider, wider choice of the
Yeah, of
extreme
course.
music, more underground black metal. I can just buy it from the shop. I think one of the biggest extreme music record shop in Sydney was called Utopia. I think the name called Utopia.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money from there, and then I made a connection with other, Sydney underground boys, like the people from Pestilential Shadow,
Yeah.
and other people from Drawing the Light, from those people from and also Nazu was Adrian from Nazu was one of my main music resources.
Cool. So there was basically a scene in Australia at that time, or did you just contact those people separately? Was there like a hub where the shows were
Well,
being had, or
there was already a scene, but I was not really involved in that scene,
no?
because back then I was just a young exchange student. I couldn't even speak a full sentence of English.
Hmm.
So but I wrote a lot of emails, made a lot of order from the local labels.
Okay.
And I think by the time of 2005, 2006, I started to talk to people offline, and go to the show and
Yeah.
talk to the people, and
In real
trying
life.
to sign some, yes, and try to sign some local bands.
Okay.
That's the time I signed Pestilential Shadows, Drawing the Light, and other Australia band.
Okay. The first thing was Grave Worship, the first release.
Yes, yes, that was
Yeah.
my first release,
Oh,
Great
okay.
Worship.
That's
Yes,
Australian, right?
maybe I don't know if you. Yes, yes, they are from Perth. I think
Yeah.
they are from Perth.
I
Yes,
think so.
yes, that was my first release.
I have some Australian. Wait a minute. I'll dig in. So I was planning on talking about Australia, since it's a big part of your history and a big part of the label, of course. One of the earlier bands you were doing, or well, earlier, I would say mid-bass, is Carved Cross, of course. They have
Yes.
a bunch of tentacles into the Australian underground. So in my book, it's a very important band, definitely for that part of the world. Grave Worship was a project by one of the guys from Carved Cross, if I'm not mistaken, or there were links into that band.
No, it's not at all.
Oh
I think
no.
Grave Worship is from Perth, and
Mhm.
Carved Cross is from Tasmania.
Tasmania. Was there a
So
split
it is
between
very no,
linking?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay,
I don't think so. I think there's no linkage between these two projects at all.
I have to
At
look
least
into that.
as far as I'm aware, there's no linkage between these two bands at all.
Yeah, you would probably know better because I always thought there was a link between them. Maybe because of a split 7-inch or anything. I'm not sure how I made the connection, but yeah, I always found it an interesting scene because I got 2 records from you very early on. That are these 2 Tyrants of the Sun,
Black Twilight.
and then this one, which is one of my
Yes.
absolute favorite, the Black Putrescence. Is there anything more you can say about this band or this project?
Yes, Black Putrescence. I think they are my second release after Grave Worship. Yes, Brayton from Black Putrescence is a good friend with Alex of Grave Worship.
It's
So
one of the
I think yes,
it's one of
I
the
knew him
most
since the tape trading
one of the most fucked up pictures
gruesome picture.
in history of black metal.
Yes, very gruesome.
Yeah.
Yes, right. I have a very big poster of that picture.
Oh,
I
okay.
framed it and hung it in my warehouse. I'm not in my warehouse right now. Otherwise, I can show you.
Very interested in that. Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place with all these releases, but I should stick to the things we prepared. We can probably cut here and there.
Yep.
Let's regroup a bit because, like I said, we were all over the place. We were in Australia. That's where we left off when I started pulling out records. I have too many, like usually, I have too many moving parts to keep the focus going. So in Australia, you started, getting deeper into the underground, I should say, making connections, and then those connections went back to you when you went back to China, I guess, because you've been working with all these people since the early days. How would you say that has the label changed or has it just evolved? Because I noticed a few chapters in the label. For example, there is the early chapter, let's say the CD to make it easy, the CD stuff.
Yes.
I think up into the part where we go into bands like Sluted, bands like the Bosnian scene and like I said, the American scene, when I started to pay notice. That is maybe the second chapter, if you will. And then the third chapter is now where we go into, go all over the place. One of the records that I really like is maybe it's because it's from Belgium, but the Altered Heresy you did, and the Goblin stuff. So it's 3 maybe distinct chapters in the label. Do you feel that is the case? Do you feel the same, or is it just, I don't know?
Oh, but well, I think I still release the exactly same kind of stuff since my first day, because you can see this is my new release from the batch in May, which I'm going to drop next weekend. It is a small Australian band called Scenes Off, which is a new musical project of Alex from Grave Worship.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm still doing the same kind of release for same group of people. Of course, there are new bands that are on and off my label, and I have developed new exciting talent from time to time. But I think essentially, maybe I could say spiritually, the label is still the same label since the very first day. Yes, there is a changing of a location and maybe change of a format that I put focus in, but the music set is still same. But I always wanted to do more vinyl than CD and cassette, but I didn't have enough financial ability. And there were no reliable supply chain for the vinyl back then in Australia. The people were not buying vinyl like they buy vinyl these days, so that couldn't be an option. So I don't think there are different chapters, but I do agree with you. There are different, maybe I could say a different focus on the format. And these days I focus more on the vinyl and the cassette.
Okay.
Like I always wanted to do, but I couldn't back then.
Because they were too expensive.
So yes, and a lot of people, they start buying the vinyl and cassette again.
Yeah.
I think back then, even I think I couldn't even sell like I think some of releases back then in Australia, I pressed like 200 copies on vinyl, and it maybe took me a long time to, I mean, sell out them, even if I can sell them out at all.
Yeah.
But these days, if you do something like 200 copies, you can probably sold it out instantly.
Yeah.
So I think the whole music scene is changing. So the label is just a change along with the rest of the scene.
The fact that you still had that stock in Australia says enough. I don't think you have too much dead stock now. Maybe some titles, but it mostly sells out pretty quickly, right? Which is a good thing.
Pretty quickly, yes. It is a good thing.
Yeah. The basic idea for the label.
I know a lot of people.
Please
yes.
go ahead.
I know a lot of people blame. I mean, a lot of people blame me that my release sold out too fast.
Yeah.
That is not intentional.
I wasn't.
That is absolutely not intentional.
No.
Yes. I think a lot of people ask me this question.
Yeah.
I mean, they ask me, do you deliberately to make your release sold out instantly?
I wasn't going to ask.
No label want to do that.
No, I wasn't going to ask because I know you had that question for a million interviews, and I know
times, yes.
You can say it a million more times and people still won't get it. It's space and time equals the amount of vinyl you can. I got it, but
I think maybe I'm really bad at predict a reasonable or realistic number of pressing.
Yeah.
I mean, if I know there are like 500 people would buy this title, I would definitely press 500 copies.
Yeah, of course.
But I sometimes just cannot predict how many people would order this. And one of the main questions these days, pressing vinyl takes a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe for one release, when I press the vinyl, it is still a relatively unknown band. But when the release is ready to sell, the band has to grow into maybe another level of a success.
Yeah.
So by the time when I release the title, it is already too little for the audience of the band.
Yeah, I think the way you do these, you acknowledge a drop or you communicate a drop, and then I think the label also gives it a push. I mean, if an unknown band like the one you showed, for example, I don't know it, but just because it's on the label, you are kind of a curator for, the style of music you like and a lot of people like. So I think that gives it a boost. But it's like you said, there is no way in predicting how big it's going to be. If you press 1,000 records from something and you only sell 2, that means you have 800 physical copies. Okay, so this is the second part. We had to make a cut to look at some details. We are going to, for the second part, the first part was basically introduction and some questions I had. The second part, we can maybe actually talk about releases because that's what a label does, or that's what you are doing. I have some that are from the label, some that I got from or through you that are not maybe label released, but definitely related. And the first thing is this one. I have the tape version, but I don't have the LP version of this one. I've heard you talk about this one a little bit. There goes the bell. But yeah, please. This is Enmity Wu Yuan, something like that.
Yes, I think the band name is Enmity, which the Chinese pronunciation is Yuan.
Yuan. Okay.
Yuan, yes, and Wu Yuan is the name of the name of the album.
Okay.
Yes.
It's hard to get it in focus because of the mic, but
Right. Yep.
very
Yes, very cool release. Very cool. Very eerie.
very
Very
eerie
Chinese.
pictures. Yeah, I think the black putrescence picture was eerie, but these one, especially
Yes,
where
maybe.
she's curved over
Yes.
like some sort of ghoul. Yeah,
Right.
this I this is one of the releases that I just threw in an order from you, or that I didn't know what it was, but just because how it looked. But when I got it and when I listened to it, it was some of the most disturbing and insane ambient. It feels wrong to just call it ambient because it's more than that. It has this gruesome, the images kind of translate to what the music sounds like.
Yes.
So it was at that time, because I think I must have had it for over 5 years, but at that time it was something completely new to me because ambient was, I don't know, far from my bed, I guess. But one of the releases that I still hold dear to this day. Here is the logo, I guess, from them.
Yep.
It's more of an artwork logo, and it is on.
Well, that logo is a Chinese character.
This?
Yes, this logo is a Chinese character.
And does it mean?
It's the Chinese of enmity.
Ah, okay. Do you know what it means? The enmity?
Oh, I think enmity. Well, it is some very gruesome feeling. It's a curse, a kind of a curse that lasts for like 1,000 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. There is a lot of things to talk about this release, because I know the artist since high school days. His name is also Dani.
True.
And the surname is also same with me. So this is another Dani Li.
2 Dani Lis in the scene.
Yes, 2 Dani. Yes, and I agree with you. It is more than just the ambient, or more than some people used to refer this kind of music dungeon scenes. I think it's more than that. I think to me it's more like an original soundtrack of a very old school Chinese ghost story.
Yeah.
So it's a very otherworldly. I think I sometimes compare it with Dead Can Dance, but it's just a more eastern, more underground and more evil version of the Dead Can Dance. A strange. Yes, it's a strange world music, but not really exist in this world.
No, it feels very foreign to me, and I think to a lot of people from the Western world, just because it has. I think if you have never traveled to Asia, it feels like a different world. It is a different world, just culture-wise, just how it looks, how it feels, how. So yeah, it kind of clicks in that way. It feels like even more than just a horror. You can say it's a horror soundtrack, but it goes deeper than that. It has something spiritual, like you say, which makes it an awesome release. Is the vinyl? You did the vinyl version too?
Yes, I think I did two versions, 2 vinyl versions.
Yeah, are these the same tracks that are on the tape, or is there more on the vinyl? I can't remember.
It is the same track. I think I did two versions. First version is version with only the album tracks, and the second version with a bonus from the demos. I think the cassette version you hold there is a version with both album tracks and demo tracks. So it is the same track list of the second demo versions.
There you go.
Yes, this is a full track list. I mean, they're a discograph because they only recorded this music. Then the guy, he moved away from a black metal scene to a more techno sound.
Yeah, okay. Which is not a huge jump, but I'm interested in hearing his techno or his version of what techno could be. Or is it more straightforward?
Yes, his version of a techno is a very bizarre music. Okay. I mean, I think it's the techno reincarnation of Enmity. It's was to check it out. It's the name of the techno project is Daliva D.
Okay.
Maybe you can search on Discogs.
Yeah, I'll hit
it's
you. It's
not that hard to get, but it's very great music.
He has a lot of output, or is it manageable?
Oh, it is manageable.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he
Like
did like 2 or 3 random LPs,
oh,
and
okay.
then they did some digital release.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's one of my favorites from the label. I never got the vinyl version because there was a period that my scope was off Goatowarex for a while, just because of the was a time when the import stuff was happening, and it was
Yeah,
becoming. That's actually how we got in
yeah,
contact, just because to avoid import fees and stuff like that. I just started
right.
hitting you and mailing you. Yeah, which you worked around gladly for me. Thank you for all those things.
Yeah, yeah, no
Um,
worries. It's my pleasure.
Perfect. The second release I have is this one,
Oh,
the Black Metal Revivalism Part 1, Tribute to Lord Puke and Morbid Tunes of the Black Angels. There you
yeah,
go. This is
that's
a,
very
is
great
it
album.
is it the first compilation you did for the label?
It is my first compilation. Yes, it's a very, I mean, difficult to really organize a competition.
Okay. I'll show the back and stuff. It has a lot of bands from the label, of
Yep.
course. It has Obscuritatum with
Mhm.
in the number one spot. Goldblood, Forgotten Spell from Germany. I don't know what this is. Is
Yep.
this Enmity? No, it's not.
No, it is uh, a side project of the Swedish band. How do I pronounce it? Slotted?
Slutted. Ah, okay.
Slotted, yes. It is a side project of Slotted.
Ah, okay.
They just record this one track for the compilation. And
Yep.
they want to hit their identity, so they just come up with another name.
They are still. It's basically the same band, but different name for the compilation. Or are they going to do another band?
I no, I believe so. It is just exactly same group of people,
Yeah.
and I don't know. You know, when I get in touch, ask them if they want to do an exclusive track for this compilation. They said, "Oh, we already have a one track, but we do not know where to put it, and we don't even have a name for this project."
Yeah.
And that's how that track came up to me.
Ah, okay. So it didn't fit under the name Slutet, and then it was a perfect fit for the
I believe
compilation.
so. Yes, I
It
believe so.
comes with this booklet that has,
Mm-hmm.
liner notes,
Yep.
artwork for all the bands. I'm not sure
Right.
that is
Yep.
YouTube appropriate, but here we go. It is
Yep.
dedicated to Lord
Yeah.
Puke. He had
Yep.
a beautiful line of compilations. Like I said, the
Mm-hmm.
Morbid Tunes of the Black Angels. Is that something you
Yep.
followed from the start, I guess? Or you were in
Yes,
contact
I
with him
think I
maybe?
started the. Well, I think this is a very old line of compilation, but I got a lot of inspiration from that tape series, and I think I started to collect the Morbid Tune series since maybe 2002 or 2001. So it was definitely a very big inspiration in my early career.
I don't know. It's been around since the mid to late 90s, maybe, or am I mistaken?
Yes,
94,
I think
2000.
so. Yes, I think you can check all their earlier compilation. It's a very classic underground black metal compilation with a very big name like Emperor,
Yeah,
Cradle of Filth. You know those tier of black metal gods.
the top tier
They
early
were
bands.
all part of the very top tier early Norwegian scenes, early French scenes, Black Tabbies, Mutilation. I think they all were part of that compilation.
Yeah, I managed to grab a copy of the last. I think 10 is the last, and I think I that's the only one I found for now.
Mm-hmm.
But even that one, which
Yeah.
it always each tape is kind of not a period, but it's compiled in a good way that even the last one is a good look into what's happening at that time in black metal, which a
Yes.
compilation should, of course. But yeah,
Yes.
respect to him and to that entire lineup. This is it was communicated that this was one of possibly more maybe 3 compilations. Is that still a an idea, or is that a dream of mine?
Yes, I actually have a full lineup for the second part of this compilation assembled and everything recorded. I don't know. Maybe I would say it's going to come out earlier next year.
Okay.
I used to plan to do it on a yearly basis, so one compilation per year. So keep doing it until the last day of my label. But organize a compilation like this is very, very, very time consuming.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to have an exclusive track from the band.
Yeah.
And I think it happened twice for the first compilation that one particular band dropped off at the last minute.
That's always.
They say, "Oh, we have another use of this track." Or, "Oh, I don't like your label anymore. I don't want to participate this compilation anymore." So people just drop off at the very last minute. So I have to find another band. Maybe I have to ask them to record another exclusive track, and that's gonna take another maybe a few weeks, even a month. And by the time of that track ready, another band come up with me. So, "Oh, come on, it will take me too long. We have another use of this track." This happened twice. And I think you can imagine it's very time consuming, and you have to write a lot of emails and end up, you have to contact with a lot of people. But by that compilation, I made a lot of contacts, which I made a lot of contacts with a very important band for my label, like Obscure Tatum, like Forgotten Spell, like Slotted. They are all very rather bigger names on my label these days. And I made contact with them because I wanted to ask them to contribute for this compilation.
Okay.
So it is a good way to get in touch with a lot of a band when your label is relatively unknown to the scene.
So this was years in the making, actually, this compilation, because it came out, let's say, 3 years ago, maybe something like that.
Yes, no, it's more than 3 years ago.
Of course.
I cannot remember exactly date. It's 2018 or 2019.
Yeah, it was probably.
Maybe you can.
I always forget COVID, but there is no date on here.
Maybe 2018.
It was around the same time the Drowning in the Light trilogy came out, because there's a promo on the Obi.
Okay, that maybe 2017, I think. But I started to organize this compilation at least since 2013 or 2014.
Yeah, because if you're
so
talking,
yes, took like 3 years in the process to make it happen.
Okay. It's kind of weird to hear that was the impetus for bands like Obscure Tatum and Slotted to be on the label, because I never thought that was the way it went, because it came out so late after, Vampira.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I made my initial contact with Obscure Tatum and other Bosnian dudes because I wanted to have a project to feature on that compilation, which is Cave Ritual.
Cave Ritual, yeah.
Cave Ritual, yes, it's not existing anymore. But back then, I really liked Cave Ritual demo, so I wrote an email to the Cave Ritual contact, asked them if I can feature a track in my compilation. But later, I think Cave Ritual morphed into I think Cave Ritual became Void Prayer.
Yeah, in a sense, I guess, because they were a band compiled of Bosnian and Dutch folk from the Throat, if I'm not mistaken.
Dutch,
the Netherlands.
Yes.
Something happened there, so they went their separate ways. But
right, they split up. Yes.
Both very strong scenes, but I think I give the edge to the Bosnia just because of the sheer output they have with Void Prayer, what that has become, what Obscure Tatum has become. I talked about the tape they released on Black and Green 2 videos ago, but now the full length is on the horizon. So I think that will be a monster that is coming out. Just now that we are in Bosnia, you are doing the Shadow Dungeon, the new release by him.
Yes.
Is that in the
I think I have one. Yes, the cassette version of the new Shadow Dungeon album is in the upcoming batch, which is scheduled for the next weekend.
Okay. Do you want to dive into that since we're on the batch? There probably are a few releases.
So I can show you the cassette. I got it here. Here it is.
It looks incredible.
Right, here we go.
Oh, there it is.
It is a very great looking, and especially the layout was inspired by old black mark layout.
Yeah.
So you can see it is pretty much like the old layout of a Bathory album.
Yeah. Is it cut?
Yes, I think it is a very. No, I actually want to cut it. Every time I hold the tape, I thought maybe I should cut it to make it more collectible in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a really great album because their previous output were all dungeon scenes. But
Yeah,
this one is epic. It's a very special epic black metal.
Yeah,
it's a more, I think, comparable to. Yes, I think it is comparable to earlier Austria scenes like summoning, maybe some Arbibor, very loud scenes, very long tracks, and very epic feeling. It's overall a great output. Yeah. I didn't expect this when Bossman. I think Bossman. Bossman is the dude behind all this. When he came up with me, he say, "Oh, if you want to check this out, it is a new album of Shadow Dungeon, but it's very different to their previous works." So I was very surprised. It's an absolutely genius album.
It's almost as shocking as the difference between the death metal dark throne and the black metal dark throne. That's how big the void is between the
yes,
it's a very big gap. It's almost like he was practicing his dungeon synth, quote unquote, to immerse it into the style of black metal that he is playing right now. But yeah, all hail the Leper King.
Yes, all hail the Leper King.
Yeah, I spoke tirelessly about his project and then that entire scene. Also because it's it's once again a different world from where we are living. There's the entire history of that country is kind of immersed into what they're playing and how they are playing, and it deals with so much pain and tragedy and stuff like that. Last time I talked about Obscuritatum, I said that every time I put it on, I kind of feel shitty, but I still love it 100% just because it's so, I don't know, emotionally heavy. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's such
right. It's the same to me. I think I think the last time I heard the name about Bosnia before I made contact with Bossman was when I was very young. The civil war in Bosnia, the slaughters, the genocide. I think it's more like the feeling of my daughter to Ukraine these days.
Yeah.
So it's a very tragical name that every time I hear the name of Bosnia, I think about war, about tragedy. And until I made contact with Bossman, I developed. I dived into the scene. I found a lot of great and very talented artists from that small country compared to China. And I was so surprised that so many talented new musicians from that small country.
Are there, outside the Black Plague Circle, are there any other bands you can recommend? Because when you look on the internet, for example, for Bosnia bands, it's always that group of people that are playing in the same bands. But
I had the exactly same question before, but really I just cannot find another recommendable band outside the Black Plague Circle.
No, it's all.
So if you know any other Bosnian, So if you know other Bosnian band, that is you can recommend to me.
I think Usman would be the person to ask, not any of those.
I think I asked him before, but he told me no.
We're the only ones. It's probably true. It's probably true. Incredible music they are making. That was actually the first. Where are they? I have too many records here. This was actually the first record I heard from the label, the Vampirska Kakafania, which still is an incredible record. But once again, something different than what he's doing now with Obscuritatum. It's always evolving and changing because the last tape was inspired by a movie about the war. Once again, the war pops up.
Yeah.
This was one of the highlights at that time in the entire raw black metal scene, maybe even a benchmark. It still is, in my opinion.
Right. Yep.
There you go. I loved these stickers.
Yeah, the stickers.
Is that did your kid drew that or?
No, I just want to make something that is the more more special, like the OBI I do for most of my release. I think this kind of sticker is more common in Asian music scenes. People prefer to put a sticker, put OBs on the record.
Very nice release.
It is very beautiful looking, very nice.
Yeah, how the records look are always, I mean, it's insane. The OB has become your thing in the last years. What was the first one, or what's the first OB? Do you know? Do you still remember?
I think the first one I did was in maybe 2014. I think the first one I did was for some power electronic projects, which we should not discuss here because sensitive nature.
Censorship, right?
Yes, but those are censorship. Those were my first OB experiments.
Was that
later on I start to put.
Was that on Goatowarex? Not to go into the power electronics, but was that on a different label or was it Goatowarex?
On the different label, which is already banned on Discogs, so we better not to talk it. Yeah.
I kind of feel where to go and where not to go. We'll see where we get. Yes, the next release. A band that we can talk about, but is equally crazy, is this one. We mentioned them, Slutet. This is the Jihad from a few years ago. Corona kind of fucked up my timeline because I always say it's maybe like 5 years old, but then maybe it's 7 years old just because of.
I think it is a 4 or 5 years old. Yes, it is an old release.
There.
Yep.
And then this is the new one, Love and Beauty.
Yeah, the new one. Yeah, this came out last year.
Yeah,
which is absolutely the best release of it.
Goosebumps. I don't know if that shows up, but I still can't get my head around it. Just how good it is. Once again, it is like a lot of the bands you are doing. I'm not saying all, but if you take their early material, which we will talk about hopefully in a minute, and then you listen to this, it's not miles apart, but it's very different sounds. Even the Bosnian scene, which was known for their raw output, I should say, are now getting into very good production, very bombastically played, and the raw side is going to the wayside. Is that something you noticed too in your releases or in the band?
Sorry?
Do you notice that too, that they are...
sorry, what was the question?
I was talking about that a lot of the bands like Obscuritatum, like Slutet, that they have this lift up in production and in the way they are playing, which is normally because they are becoming better musicians, but it seems that they are taking steps away from the more raw sound that they started with. Is that something you notice too, or am I only noticing?
Yes, I noticed that too. Yes, and I think this is a very special project because yes, it's so beautiful looking, and they also have very distinguished very distinguished a band photo.
Yeah, it's an insane band.
Because I think this guy is very very strange. A lot of projects these days are very creativity, so they put a lot of music and they have a very various type of projects. But for the started, they just contact you when they have an album finished, and this is all they got. So I think they are very great musician. You can hear from the music.
Yeah.
But they only want to release an album when they are absolutely satisfied with the sound. So they do not have any demo. They do not have any set project, other minor output, splits. They do not have that shit. They just want to have a one album and then finish the project.
Yeah.
It's a very remarkable attitude, I think.
Yeah, I think that's for me, in the entire world of black metal and black metal adjacent, I think they are one of the last enclaves that are truly free spirits in the way they operate, the way they present themselves, the way they play music and record music. I loved you talked to Charlie about their 100
Yeah.
KPS.
Yeah.
But let's not get into that. I'll link
Yeah.
Charlie's interview, so that's a nice. We are a nice companion piece to that one. But yeah, nothing but respect for that band. And this is their swan song, right? They are done after Love and Beauty for now, I guess.
Yes, this is their swan song. Yes.
Which is, I don't think the End Commune is done, but Slutat is done.
Yes, I think they have another more punkish black metal project.
Yeah.
Came up after the Started, but for Started they are done. They have they have two last releases,
Okay.
which will be released next week. Which is I think I can show you.
Please.
This is the beginning. Yeah.
There
Right.
it is. Wow.
If you can see this, it is a triple LP gatefold. I think this is it's gonna be one of the most expensive release I did because it's a really great looking. It has 3 pockets. You can call this trifold.
Yeah.
With all the songs from all the tracks from demos and up until the Jihad EP released in 2017. So it is all their tracks, all their official tracks before the Love and Beauty album.
Yeah.
So I think this is one release that I really started by fans should get. I think this is a really great album. Yes.
Yeah, it looks incredible.
And it's very awesome presentation. It looks incredible. I mean, I cannot stop looking at this when I wake up. And we also have a very thick art book. It's like 80 pages of a art book with all the lyrics, with a lot of drawings, a lot of photos around and during this era of the band.
Is it a triple LP?
It's a very great one.
Is it a triple LP or is one pocket?
It is a triple LP.
Ah, okay.
It is a triple LP. The booklet is it is a separate booklet.
Yeah, okay.
I do not have it
don't spoil it.
I mean, on my table. Yeah. Maybe I should stop spoiling it.
Okay, I got a notification here. Yeah, it looks insane. But that is one of two from them. So there's another one coming.
Yes, another one is called a Love and Beauty rehearsal, which is a rehearsal session that they recorded before the Love and Beauty album. But they believe that session is an important part of the whole Love and Beauty story.
Yeah.
So we decided to release it separately as a standalone LP.
Okay. That should be interesting to hear that. The bit raw versions of...
Yeah, it is a raw and a more sloppy sound, but it's very different. But it's still, I mean, it's the same song, but it's a sound very different.
Yeah.
It is a sloppier, but it's a very good sense of the word sloppier.
Yeah, okay.
And very raw, very charged with a lot of energies.
I think for me personally, I think I need a bit more time to fully appreciate and realize what they are doing, because they don't have too much material, but it's very dense and not always easy to listen to. So yeah, I mean, I got to know them through one of the blog spots they did where one of the guys cut off some of his flesh and then baked it and eat it. So that was enough to...
Yes, it's very gruesome.
Yeah.
Very gruesome.
So I was like, okay. and they have music. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if you... Yeah, right. But if you ask them, is this photo true? They would say, no, it is a fake. But to me, obviously, it is a true.
Let's not ask them anymore. Let's just have it be lore and
right.
But yeah, once again, a very interesting band. Yeah, I'm glad to see that one pop up, and I'll definitely hit you up for a copy of that. I think the last one I want to dive in is basically a trio of records. Where is it? Where are they? You had a collaboration with this one, the Spectral Moon label.
Yeah, Spectral Moon.
You have, where you go, Goatowarex with Nice Folk. There is this one, Haunting Depths, I think.
Hunting Depths.
With Death's Sacred Fire.
Hunting Depths.
Yes. Then the first Nocturnal Triumph. What's the thing? Into Light's Graven Womb. The label always spoke to my imagination because there is no info whatsoever on that label. They are basically a cassette label. I have this tape from them, which is also a very good one. It is different material throughout the releases. There are obviously different bands, although I think maybe these two are connected a bit, the Nocturnal Triumph and that thing.
Right.
Is there any light you can shine? Not that I'm prying on information or something, but how did you establish the connection, or is there anything you can share about the label?
Well, I think all these bands consist of one main composer.
Okay.
And then with different other drummers, helpers through the different projects. But all these projects have only one main composer, as far as I'm aware. And I think they are not on my label anymore, so I shouldn't talk more about them. But they are very creative, very reclusive. I think the main reason that they dropped off from my label was was a kind of embarrassing because they didn't really like my way to promote the band and then promote the label, because I did a lot of a mixtape. Mixtape is every batch, every job. I sometimes have a not very black metal image. Yes, that mixtape, but this one is good. But I think the first couple of mixtapes, I put on some kitten images, kitten covers.
Okay.
The Mystic Cat.
Yeah,
right. And they didn't really like that. Maybe it's a not very serious way to promote black metal band. So they told me, we are fed up with all this non-serious black metal imagery. So we wanted to move on to another more serious black metal label.
Okay.
That whole way split up. I mean, that whole way parted way with Spectral Moon and Lake bands.
So
but I still like.
It's basically these three.
Because yes. And originally I was going to do the third album for Nocturnal Triumph.
Yeah.
But the album was already recorded, and I paid all the studio stuff like that, and I think as a not last minute, but more or less when the album is finished, they told me, maybe we shouldn't do this on Goatowarex because all the the disagreement about the label imagery, stuff like that. So they moved away. But I wish them the very best. I think the music is still great, but I think the last time I heard from the main composer, he is more focused on his dark ambient project these days. So probably there will be no another Nocturnal Triumph album. Maybe I hope I'm wrong, but he told me maybe there is no another album for Nocturnal Triumph.
It kind of felt like
I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of felt the green one is the last one, right, on Amor Fati, and it kind of felt like the trilogy was complete, maybe in some sense, but yeah, I don't know. Well, it's kind of sad to hear, but
yeah,
I can understand somewhere where they want to preserve the image of what the label is, maybe, but if you want to put a cat on a compilation tape, I also can understand that one.
That's right. Right, I think I respect them and understand them in a way, because the dude is a more like old school black metal musician that more rooted in the 90s era. A lot of new bands these days, they do not want to. They have a different type of the label image as the bands from the 90s or early of 21st century.
Yeah.
They do have sometimes not that kind of very serious, very diehard black metal image, but they prefer to put something like Goblin, or like something like like that one, some Goblin. You don't see a lot of this type of dress up in the 90s.
We had Mortis, so there is a point in history where that was accepted, I guess. Yeah, kind of sad to hear, but these three will stand out for me because this was also very early for me in my history with the label. Will stand out as three very, very good records that that are not just pure black metal, because I think the Nocturnal Triumph allows a lot of influence from outside, but it's three very, very good records.
Yeah.
For the last part, I wanted to do, we were doing the new batch that is coming up, so maybe talk about that. I have one more question for you, and then a few questions from the people.
Right.
Okay. We were talking about the new batch. Are there any more highlights you want to give out? I know the Instagram serves as the main promo because you don't do flyers or anything like that. So we've seen a bit popping up, but is there? What are the highlights, or what do you want to highlight?
Yes, I do have a few records I want to show you. Yes, I think the start. Yes, this one is coming out in the next batch. This is the one that I would recommend you to check it out. It's a Flash Megalith, probably Flash Megalith.
Another Australian band.
Yes, it is also from the. It is a side project of a Barrier. Maybe you have know the name of the band. This is the same dude behind the Barrier, but the very different sound. It is a more very deep and dark, heavy cave black death metal.
Yeah.
You could see it is a very rotating type of image, and I would recommend you to check this out.
Yeah,
it is from the same dude of Barrier. So if you like the Barrier, you probably like this. Also sound very different. I did the cassette version last year, but it's sold out very quick. So I believe this vinyl version would serve justice for the project.
It looks insane.
Yes, this is one I would recommend.
I really like the sounds. I like Barrier, but for last year, I would when it becomes bright outside and it's better weather, I always go into this metal mood. So that was the perfect moment for it to come out. Yeah, I like it very much.
Yes, right. And there's another one. Oh, oops. Give me a moment.
Oops.
Yep. 6.2 is also come up next batch.
Okay.
This is a Russian project. You probably know the name because it is rather popular in Europe. It's a Black Drug Wars.
Don't know it.
Okay. I'm pretty sure you know it.
Yeah.
It's it is a sad project, or not really a sad project. It was a band before Black Death, the Russian band.
Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. I know the Black Death.
Yes, it's a black. Yes, Black Drug Wars. I don't know if this is the right way to pronounce it.
Probably.
I think maybe it is not the best time to promote. I don't know if this is the right time to promote a Russian band because the war in Europe. But I think the music is the music, and people is the people, the government is the government. They should treat us separately.
Yes.
Yes, but I really like Black Drug Wars.
What time period are we speaking? Is this late 2000s, mid 2000s, or?
No, this is a late 90s stuff. Late 90s. I think I have two albums, two vinyls of a Black Drug Wars come up next week.
Yeah.
One is the Drug Wars Legacy, which is a compilation track of all their existing materials.
Ah, okay.
All this stuff were recorded in I think early mid to late 90s. I think they are the fourth wave of a raw black metal band from Russia. And this one is their legacy, their unreleased album called The True Bottomless Armageddon.
Okay.
I think they released the CD version on Dutch label.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the name, a new era maybe, but this is the first official vinyl version. And this compilation with all the demo tracks, I think half or maybe 75 of the materials will never release on vinyl before.
Oh, okay.
And yeah,
Interesting.
it's the
Yeah.
next treatment on a gatefold double LP.
It's demo material.
Yeah, I think this would. Yes, it is a I think demo material split from with Celestia and the demos and some other promo stuff like promo from 1995.
Okay.
And the demos. Yeah. Anyway, I really like them, and I want to have a Goatowarex treatment for them. So this is the product.
Yeah.
I don't know if people would really how they feel about a Russian band these days, but this is a very great raw black metal.
I think it's like you said.
Political is political.
Yeah, it's not released by Putin. It's by Russian folk that are suffering too, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a promising looking batch.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much. So I do have some other tape releases, CD releases, and the bands from Russian, from Ukraine. But I think these three, these four is the one that I want to recommend in this interview. The other stuff maybe you can check out on my Instagram.
Yep.
And there are a lot of new exciting stuff come up next week. I think I totally have maybe 17 or 18 release, like 3 CDs, couple of tapes.
I'll start selling some organs then.
Maybe you'll keep me.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I don't think I have a lot of stuff here, but I don't really have decided the complete lineup. I would maybe change one thing or two during the announcement program. So, but I think totally like 15 to 17 releases. So let's see if we can.
The most of the people who are watching this, I assume, know that they have to go to the Instagram to be updated. But if not, the Instagram is
maybe
where you,
I hope so. Yes,
I think so.
Yes, I mean, I do still print some flyers these days.
Oh yeah.
But they are mainly for the nostalgia reasons.
Yeah.
Because I don't really believe that. I mean, I'm an old school guy, and I do collect the flyer even myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to spend a lot of money to buy the 90 and early 21st century flyer from eBay. I spent a lot of money buying those original flyers, but I do not believe they still serve the purpose. I do not believe they still serve their original purpose. I mean, by that I mean to promote and release, because I don't know which band you discovered from a flyer last time. I cannot remember one during the last. Yes, did you really discover any? You have some. No, I do not really remember if there was a very great band that I solely discovered from a flyer.
Okay.
I mostly saw them on a forum, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, stuff like that.
I don't spend time on forums because I spend a lot of time on this, and I have a family and a life outside of this, just like you. But
right, yes.
Yeah, I think Instagram is my main input for new material, but like a label like you mentioned, New Era does. I mean, every time I order from New Era, I get this much flyer material in from it. And there are bands I do the flyers, but it's just because they have 20 flyers, 20 different flyers going at the same time. That way.
That's a very great tradition. I respect that.
Yeah, but you were saying I don't think they serve the same purpose, but I think flyers from now will be serving the purpose in 20 years, maybe. You know, like sometimes I'm looking for flyers. Maybe. Like there was a show. I think Seigneur Volant played in Belgium, and I had the flyer, but I was looking for some info on that band, and I knew it was on the flyer, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm still looking for sometimes it's. But it was when I was getting everything together, it dawned on me that you don't have any promo material. The only promo material is maybe a tape somewhere or a promo tape, but never a
Yes,
flyer or poster.
right.
Speaking about those types of things, I didn't ask you to pick your favorite record out of the bunch because that would be like picking your favorite child, I guess. But is there
It's very difficult.
very difficult? But I asked if there was something from the because I'm in my head, the Goatowarex archive should be insane. Is there anything you have picked out or that you can show?
From my own collection.
Yeah, from the archive, from the label or from your stuff.
Um,
If not,
I do have a couple.
we can skip it. But
Yes, maybe we can move to next question because I do have a lot of stuff I want to show you, but they are not in this apartment
okay.
now because
Well,
we only have a small apartment here. So I rent a warehouse to store all my own collections.
okay, we'll keep
So
that for
maybe I can show you next time
part
for
two.
the second episode.
All
Yeah.
right. That leaves us with the questions because there is a lot more. As you can see, I have some papers. I have everything written down, but I don't want. I think we are reaching the hour and a half mark, and I wanted to keep it under an hour, so that's my bad. Let's see. There were some questions. Charlie from Crypt of the Wizard asked, ask him what the best underground metal shop is on Hackney Road in East London.
Oh, maybe the Crypt of the Wizard.
Maybe.
Too simple.
It's becoming a thing on this channel.
Yes.
The Menel Vengor asks, ask him if he's ready to release some sick blackened death metal from the Himalayas or not. It seems they are a band
Yes,
from,
I always wanted. Yes, I always want to do the band from exotic, not exotic, maybe not this word, from the country that I have never released before.
yeah, okay.
So Himalaya would be a great choice. I mean, I did release some bands from India already, but I think seems they want to brand themselves as a different type of Indian band by focus on the Western Himalaya culture, which is very great.
That was by Menel Vegor. They have a band, it seems, but I haven't really delved in. He has another question, but I guess we already answered that. It says, running an extreme metal label in China must be risky. To hark back on the censorship, do you have a lot of trouble still? Like, I can imagine, do you have to show covers or anything like that too? Or is it just...
Well, no, I think there are some kind of censorship like everywhere in the world, but just a different kind of censorship. Like we have to avoid nudity, which is strange. We have to avoid nudity, and we have to avoid.
Then you sign a band like Slutet.
Yeah, well, I actually do have one. I actually do have one coming up in the next batch, one from Ukraine, and they asked me if I have any because they have a nudity nude photo on the layout, and they asked me if I have any question. I mean suggestion about the layout. Okay. I say, oh, maybe you can use the logo to cover the post.
Yeah, okay. Like a nice goat head.
Yeah, right. Yes, you can. Yes. So, right, we have to avoid nudity. Maybe we have to avoid the political stuff.
Okay.
I mean, that kind of political stuff, they deem to be dangerous to the communist government. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it is not risky to the term of, getting arrested. No, not that kind of
don't interfere
risk.
with the choice.
Yes, okay. Right. Yeah.
Iralex asked the Bossman about Putrid March, Wagner Ødegaard at exactly 66 minutes and 6 seconds. Does that mean anything to you?
Oh, no, not at all.
No, it was a weird question. I'm not sure they're I'm not sure they're all very serious, but yeah. And then ask him if he likes Lightless from Tasmania and Forest of Trees. Do you know them? Lightless?
No, I don't. Yes, I think I remember someone asked me about this question, but I have never heard this project Lightness. Maybe I should check it out.
Yeah, me too, because it's from Tasmania and there are a few bands that I like from that region.
Yeah, cross.
Brian Grimes says, and we are reaching the end, he wants me to tell you you have a great label, but I guess you know. And he asks to
Thank you.
repress the True Werewolves Nightfall. That's the box set, I think.
Oh, yes, that's a box set. I believe a cassette version is coming out this year through another British label.
Ah, okay.
So yes, so I don't have a plan to repress the whole box set because it is very time consuming and money consuming.
It's a great box.
But it is a great box, but just took me up too much time to.
There were a lot of things in there.
Construct a box.
Yes, two records,
some
two flags, a shirt. Yeah, it was incredible.
Yes, I think three records. One double LP and one single LP. Yes, and 2 shirts, a flag. I think another patch or something.
Okay.
It took me a lot of time to construct a box like that.
And also press some more Vampiric Spectre, he said.
Yes, maybe I really should.
The last question he asked is, how is Shira doing? The cats.
How is Shira? Shira is doing very well. Yes.
I thought I saw her in the mirror
she's
there.
Getting along. Yes. Oh, no. She lives in my warehouse, not in my apartment.
I saw something.
So yes, she's not here. Maybe another small animal.
Okay. Mr. Vanta Black wants to know if you've been in a band ever. Have you played music before?
No, I'm not really talented enough to play any instrument.
I think we are the same. We do this kind of stuff just to to avoid have to play music.
Yeah. Right.
I think there is one more. Oh yeah, the last one was update on the Slutat, which we got, and then what is your process on deciding what bands to work with? But I guess you also answered that a bit, just from the heart, I guess, what you feel.
Yeah, there's no really a process.
No.
I just I think by these days, mostly the band contact me and showing me their stuff, ask me if I want to sign them for release. So I used to reach out other bands, but these days I really get a lot of promotions and emails ask me for a release. So well, I think I just want to do the stuff just like I said, exactly like the first release on my label, Grave Worship, which is a raw black metal. So it's the label still same as 2002.
Yeah.
So if you think your music is the same as black metal, if you think your music is should fit black metal that released in 2002, probably it would fit the label.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. There's a line to be pulled throughout the label. You know, just wherever you go, it's always. You know, it mutates and it shifts here and there, but it's always with the same intention, I guess, and the same beautiful layout.
Exactly.
Like I said, I wanted to keep it under an hour. That has been not been
yes,
because we haven't even delved into the last batch. That will be for next time, maybe.
Yes,
because that's very much to unpack. So yeah, we'll dive into the archive, this batch, the batch that's coming, and maybe your record collection next time. I want to thank you very much for allowing me to, have this talk or have this interview in video form.
The pleasure is mine. It's really nice to talk with you.
Perfect, man. Like I said, I hope we can do a second part in the near future. There was talks of doing one with Charlie as a 3-way conversation, but we'll see where we get with that idea.
Yeah, I think that would be a very interesting idea. Maybe next time we should ask Charlie to delve in.
Maybe think about a team to talk about, because it would be could be getting out of hand with that guy. We'll see.
Yeah.
Charlie. Sorry, Charlie. Dani, thank you very much one more time.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Tom. Thank you very much.
I'll contact you later this week. I'm sorry, the batch is going up next weekend, right?
It's next weekend. I think it's 29th of May.
Okay.
So it's the last Sunday of May.
Then we have the perfect timing. Good. I'm glad about that.
All
yeah.
right.
One more time. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.